All right, man. Welcome back to Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club. Y'all know who it is. It's your main man, Ken Clark. We got the whole gang in this thing today, man. And we just beat down Southern, so we had to call the whole crew in, man. You know, D. Corey C said he gonna let us rock out tonight. So we got Mike B in the building. We got the big Aristotle, and of course we got Zoe DeLorean. What's going on, fellas? What's happening?
What's good, Ken? What's good, Zoe? What's good, Mike B?
What's good? What's good, JSU Tiger fans? Superman KC, what's good?
What up, fellas? What up, D? I love family.
Man, it was a good weekend, y'all. I was just saying, what's y'all?
If I don't say
it was a great outcome. I think anytime we beat Southern at anything, it's a great day to be a JSU Tiger anyway. But heck of a turnout, man. 35-0. We dominated them. They came in, we shut them out. I mean, I'm satisfied. You know, we'll go around and let everybody kind of open up and give you your quick thoughts on the game this past weekend.
All right. Hey, I wanted to see complete dominance from beginning to end. We got off to a little bit of a shaky start. Didn't really do much in the first quarter. No points scored. We had some turnovers on downs there, but eventually we got it together and we went on a nice little scoring run in the second quarter. Demoralized them and kept them off the board. So that's always great. Usually when we play Southern, if we're really good and Southern is just okay or below average, it tends to be a good game. And then when we're just okay or below average and Southern's really good, they beat us convincingly. So I was glad to see us beat them convincingly this week. So that's what that I took the most enjoyment of that. I like that.
Good points, man. Well, Mike already kind of knows what I feel, man. The air smell a little bit better and fresher. Got a little bit of pep in your step. You know, that powder blue smell like boo boo now. You know, hey, it's all good. It's all gravy, baby, as we say. But to echo what Mike said, great game overall. Mike kind of knows because I call him all the time and tell him I wish we would just take what the defense gives us. And I was so happy to see Shador break them big runs because those runs have been open the last 2 or 3 games. And them QB runs, and he finally took advantage of them, took them to the house. So I was real ecstatic to see him take advantage of that. And honestly, I believe him doing that opens a brand new element into the offensive philosophy toward play calling and how defenses are going to play us going forward. Because now he's a threat now. And teams got to address and acknowledge that. And so I think that's going to change the way teams are going to actually play us going forward. But solid defensive effort. You know, the dark side showed why they the dark side. Offense put up points when they needed to put up points. And God dog, man, the crowd. I mean, the crowd was, just incredible. For people to come out under the threat of a thunderstorm and still be in the stands like that, man, shout out to all the fans that contributed. Shout out to the administration putting on a great show. Shout out to College GameDay for being there and being present and creating a wonderful game day environment. This is one for the ages, y'all. This is one for the history books.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was thrilled with the outcome of the game. I was thrilled with the presentation. And yeah, this was by far the most dominating performance our defense has put up this year. Dominating so strong. In fact, I would pretty much like to say that the dark side was so strong, there are no more Jedi left in the universe. Like that's how dominant the defense was. I mean, knowing that we haven't had a 200-yard passer and we finally faced a team that was putting up good points and we didn't even allow this quarterback to have 100 yards passing. No 100 yards rushing, and he's the team leading rusher. He's their biggest threat, and we cut his legs off. And so, dominating performance, 35-0 victory. When honestly, if you guys really look at it, and it's not hyperbole when I say this, we easily could have doubled that output. We really could have probably won this game 50-0. So, and again, it's the same old. We kind of get a little miffed at the performance because we see where we missed some opportunities. But even with those missed opportunities, we win a game against our rival 35-0. So definitely pleased and on to the next one.
Yeah, man. I mean, you guys brought up a lot of great points, man. I think it speaks to a lot. But I would jump right into the meat and potatoes of the game because I thought Shaq made a really good point along the lines of Shador and his running ability. Um, 42-yarder, career-long touchdown, and he had a career-long 2 rushing touchdowns. So kind of want to expand a little bit more on this particular element from an offensive standpoint. We know he's chasing the Heisman. I mean, we all pegged him to possibly hit that 4,000 passing yards, possibly 40 passing touchdowns. But now you start to see Shador, the runner. That's something that, Coach Brown said in the press conference. He said, hey, he can run, but that's not what we want him to do. But now, you got to see, hey, he can run that thing too. So let's talk a little bit about that and kind of get your take on it. I know Shaq gave his point, Mike B and Zoe, if you want to add a little bit meat to that.
Oh, yeah. I was really glad to see him get that on tape. I think defense coordinators, our opposing defense coordinators, they need to fear him as a runner. If they fear him as a runner, then that opens up a lot of other things for the offense. Because at first teams didn't really see him as a threat. But once you put that on tape, now teams got to respect it. So you'll see other things open up for him offensively as we move forward through the season. So good to see him do that. And good to see him show his speed because he's not particularly known for his speed. It's real deceptive, but Shador, he's got some wheels on him. He's not his dad. But, he's got some wheels on him. He can get from point A to point B, pretty effectively. So I think he needs to remind teams about that and that he's more than just an arm.
Yeah, it might be. I agree. I'm actually glad that he ran. I said this a few weeks ago, but even more so now because the past 2 games. Both teams have pretty much stayed in cloud coverage, and they're shuffling between going with a, dropping 7 and 8, and they're just mixing that up. They're staying with a 4-man front, and they're dropping everything else. And they're pretty much saying we're not going to let Shador beat us. So that's why you see the decrease in his productivity because they're pretty much just going and trying their best to take the pass away. And that's why we're having the success with the run. But I feel that if Shador was willing to run more frequently, pick up those 5 to 6 yards and get down, as well as adding on to what Sivion could do, I think it really changes, what we do, and that makes our offense even more dynamic because, as we all know, the best way to get somebody out of a zone is to run them out of it. And so when we can have that great success with high-yielding rushing yards, it's going to open up those passing lane again so we can get more man-to-man coverage because everyone fears what we can do with the weapons that we have. So that's why it was good to see him run the way he was doing it.
Agreed. Those running lanes have been open for about the past 2 or 3 games. I know Shador sometimes are reluctant to take them, mainly because, in the SWAC, running quarterbacks, they don't last long. We said that at the beginning. We said that at one of the first shows that we did. So I get it. I get the hesitancy. But if they're giving you a wide open lane, take the 4 or 5 yards, get out, take the slide, and go on with another short yardage play to go ahead and just dink and dunk them to death. And so finally, Shador did it, and I think that caught Southern off guard. You could tell after that run, it almost like deflated the entire team, and it was like they were shell shocking. It was like, what are we gonna do now? It was like they had to throw the whole game plan out the back door.
Right. Prepare for that.
Yeah. There was one element that they didn't see coming.
Prepare for it.
Yeah, I think so. It brings me to this point here. So when you think about it. We talked about the last couple of games that he did it. I'll take it one game back further, the Alabama State game. So y'all remember, Alabama State drove down with the help of some penalties. They closed the gap, and I think they made the score 17-12. And we really, being in that stadium, sitting in there, seeing that momentum swing in Montgomery, we had to put points on the board. Shador, if y'all remember, hey. He wasn't trying to force that thing anymore. He started running. Just to your point, Zach, he took what the defense gave him, and he got 2 critical first downs that led to us getting points that drive. Where he eventually threw the touchdown pass. But that was pretty good stuff. But I want to talk about this real quick because it speaks to our offense. This particular offense, Coach Prime, you could tell that he really wanted to get the offense off to a quick start because he did something that was very gutsy. We made 2 gutsy calls in the first quarter. We're talking about from the 27, Coach Bryant went for it on 4th down. And then and I'll set it up so y'all can jump into it. First one we don't get, and it led to a blocked field goal. Shout out to Jeremiah Brown for the blocked field goal. The second one, I think we, from Southern's, I want to say from Southern's 23, we went forward and we failed on that, and it led to another field goal, but this time Southern missed. Now, in contrast, against Campbell, Coach Prime took the points. What do y'all think this says a lot? And I know he touched a little bit on it in the press conference, but just kind of speak to your thoughts on why you think Coach Prime decided to go ahead and go for it in this particular game.
Full confidence in the D. He had full confidence in the defense.
Yep.
Full confidence. I think that what they saw on film was an offense that is one-dimensional, and that a quarterback whose only threat was the over-the-top fade ball on the outside, and I think he trusted the corners to basically man that up, and he played the run, and it actually worked perfectly. It worked perfectly almost both times. So I can't get mad at that. I mean, he just basically said, you know what, Southern, beat me, and I don't think you can.
I think the main thing over everything was that Affleck done rubbed off on Coach Prime. He just knew he had some insurance back there, and that's that defense. So I mean, he knew that, hey, at the end of the day, the defense got me covered. I'm gonna take this opening drive on my own 27. We're gonna go for it. And guess what? The fact is, the moment the defense gets on the field, they proved them right because they stopped them and then blocked the field goal. Yep. And coincidentally, we actually get the ball, drive down, get to the red zone, and we stall out because we have a drop on third down, and then we have getting a penalty to take us out of field goal range. So and again, some people may question the slow start, but we got to execute, and that. People don't want to see that, but had we executed, we would have got a 7-0 very, very early. Yep. And right now, we're only giving them 8.9 points per game, you guys. So now you're talking about, hey, if we just get 10 points, it's over for everybody.
Right. Yeah, I think Coach Prime looked at the film and he said, you know what? I can beat these guys. And I went when he saw on that first fourth down, the first time we turned over downs on our side of the field. I know he looked at the tape. He saw Bashawn McCray. And Bashawn McCray, I've been watching him for a while. He's a local kid here in Orlando. And actually, his mom and my wife are pretty good friends. So I've been watching him play for a minute. I saw when he went to Hines. And I think Coach Prime looked and he said, he's got some wheels on him, but he's not going to beat us with his arm.
No, he's not.
And he is not, his O-line is not better than our D-line. And if he tries to run, Aubrey Miller going to kill him. So I knew exactly what it was when I saw us go for it there, and we didn't convert. I was like, oh, it's cool. The most they get is a field goal. They ain't even get that. So,
hey man, hey look, I tell you what, man, I loved it. I was like, wow, he's going for it. I was like, oh, this is Southern Jackson State at its best right here, straight out the gate. It's like I love it though. Anytime, like I said, but to those points,
play to win.
We that last fourth down, I if we convert that if Dallas Daniels makes that catch, we have a completely different conversation. But I like the trust he mentioned in the press conference that he talks to Coach Dennis Thurman, and he based off what they say, he trusts his coaches and trusts the defense, and it bode well for us. All right, next player we'll jump into, man, Mr. Savion Wilkerson, man. He got a lot of nicknames, but we'll use mental consistency. I felt like Savion was going to be the single most important because we did know that there was some elements that was going to be factored in, as we saw, with those of us that had a chance to get to the game. Eventually the rain delay eventually caught up with us, but it was supposed to rain the entire game, so we knew that running was going to be very important. Savion Wilkerson. 21 carries, 96 yards, 1 catch, 1 tug, 2 touchdowns total, rushing touchdown, a catching touchdown, man. Let's talk about it.
Mr. Versatility. I prefer Baby Bus, number 36. I prefer Baby Bus. I heard 3-6 Mike, and it's kind of cool too. But he did exactly what I wanted him to do. I feel like this is one of those games where I wanted to see him get at least 25 carries. I wanted to see us run for at least 150 yards rushing. That's what I wanted to see, and we did that in total. Savion had a bulk of that. So he had a really good game. But most importantly, I wanted to see just our running game impose its will on this defense, because people talk about Southern's defensive line and how great they are. I knew they would. I knew they would stack up. So I just wanted to see our offensive line impose their will on this team. You know, when you are when you're pass blocking, pass protecting, you're kind of reacting to the defensive line. So I wanted us to get out there early and run the ball a lot so that we can, you know, put our bodies on them and push them where we want them to go and demoralize them early in the game. And so the CCW and Wilkinson have that kind of a game that gives you more trust and more faith in Bartolone and him and being the play caller and offensive coordinator. And so Wilkinson, hats off to him, man. He had a great game.
Yeah,
Man,
go ahead, Shaq.
No, I was gonna say, so for some odd reason I cannot get the nickname that you gave him out of my mind.
No. We're gonna move on. Move on.
I can't get that.
We're not doing that.
Look, that's just a little sweetness, man.
Oh, I can't get
We're
it
not
out of my
doing that.
mind.
We're not doing that, Jack.
Oh man. All right, I'm done. But go ahead, Zoe. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, honestly, guys, looking at where we are in the season, you know, Savion has been the unheralded hero on this team outside of two. But the beautiful thing about Savion and what he does for this offense, and I really thought about it, you guys, we run a physical air raid offense. And that's an oxymoronic statement, because when you think of an air raid team or air raid concept, you think of finesse. We're a very physical team. And that's what Savion gives us. We're an air raid offense that has physicality to it. That's a dangerous combo. And so what he presents and what he gives us is the ability that, knowing that he can run the way that he does, he's still on pace to get 1,000 yards in a pass-first offense. Just marinate on that. Also, what he does, because of what people want to do in regards to taking away things from us, when he has the ability to have the success that he has, it really makes our offense multiple. And Prime actually touched on it, because, hey, if you want to take away two, we can run. Savion can run around you, run through you, and he can catch out the backfield. He's a utility knife. He's a Swiss Army knife. So, again, it's almost like we wake up, it's like we're in retirement. What do we want to do today? And that's how our offense is going to approach the game. You want to do this? Okay, we can do this and win. You want to take this away? We can do this and win. And that's what Savion gives us the ability to do, because think about it. We scored great points last year on offense, but when things got tough, we weren't great running the ball. You don't even see that now. We get what we want on offense. We're not the top three in regards to rushing offense because of the way that we pass the ball. But yet we're still getting about 450 some yards per game. We're averaging 41 points per game. And you got a guy right here. Savion is splitting carries, and he's averaging right at 89 yards a game. And like I stated, he's still on track to get 1,000 yards. So he's meant the world. He's been the equalizer and the tone setter with regards to running the ball. And he's been the tangible change that we needed.
Mr. Reliable and Mr. Consistent.
Absolutely, man. I think it's very cool that he had 800 yards, averaged about 3.8 or 9 yards last season. And now he's on track with 3 games to go in the season. Obviously, the clear starter. Has a chance. He eclipsed what he did last season at Delaware State, and now he, like you said, though, has a great opportunity going into the SWAC Championship Celebration Bowl, which we fully expect to be in those games. They got to handle their business first, but we definitely expect him to eclipse the 1,000 yard. And it's been a long time that we've actually had a 1,000 yard rusher at Jackson State. So,
yes, sir.
But though, since you finished that up, I'm gonna go straight back to you, man, on this one. We got a gentleman that played right in your backyard, man, by the name of Travis Hunter. You know, can we say Hunter Island? I think Travis Hunter's getting the chance to play in front of the Jackson State crowd at the vet, second home game. From all estimation, basically shut down one side of the field and basically created, whoever was on that side was obsolete. You know, let's talk about Travis Hunter, man, and the impact that he had on this game.
Well, I tell you what, man, he has a great impact the moment he steps on the field, and actually from two sides of the ball. Here's a little nugget when you think about Travis Hunter. The leading receiver in this conference is Xavier Smith from FAMU. All right. And behind him is Dallas Daniels. So when you factor in all the receivers is in this conference, those are your top two. And there's a significant drop off after those two guys, right? So now you're talking about Travis Hunter having the ability to step on the field and take away every other team's best player. And that best player, I believe, probably has about 30 catches on the season. You're taking that away, and you're taking away someone's best option. And yet you still don't, it's not like you got chopped liver on the other side with a little Nugget Island. And you can't get an island smaller than Nugget Island. You know, and Nugget actually just coming back, and Nugget led to the tip ball to get an interception for Shiloh. So we're good on the outside. So, you know, we're good on the outside, but Travis has the ability, just like Prime, to take away half the field. And you're talking about taking the ability to take half of the field away with the pressure that we got with, you know, with our D line and with our front seven, I should say. So it makes us immensely difficult. And again, we don't have to get a bunch of sacks. We can actually generate pressure, because once you start to get hit, you start to see those ghosts. And again, it's like playing in the neighborhood. You know, you count 5 Mississippi. Well, you get hit a couple of times. Them 5 gonna go to 2 Mississippi. You try to get rid of the ball, which is what we saw Saturday. So all that works, man. We're good on the back end and front end. But Travis really cuts off one half of the field. Man, he has the instincts. He has great hips, great range, and I'll cut this short. But he has great ball skills. So he's a threat, and he wasn't really challenged, just like Prime was. And the one time he was challenged, the quarterback rushed the ball, and the ball went right through his hand. So that's a byproduct of, again, having great pressure and great coverage on the back end.
No, I agree. The guy's just he's solid all the way around, man. Incredible speed, recovery speed, ball skills. I mean, one of the impressive calls that he had in this game, one of the impressive plays, is when he left his man to go and dive for an interception.
Yes.
It was about a couple of, maybe like a foot away, but still, just to have the ability and the wherewithal to shift and pivot like that.
Yeah, that's
and
uncanny.
Yeah, it's uncanny, man, to get the ball skills like that. I mean, that's just great skills. And you can see that Bashawn McCray was just frustrated because his go-to receiver was pretty much just clamped.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was just completely clamped. And you know what? You mentioned something great in your assessment. So when you was like, sometimes it's not about getting the sack. Sometimes it's just a rush. And you're right, because it speeds up your mind. It speeds up. So you're thinking you got like 3 or 4 seconds there, and your mind telling you only got 2 seconds. Mm-hmm. And so you're trying to rush, and you're trying to get the ball off. And that's what Bashawn was trying to do. He was just trying to rush before the pass rush got there. And he was rushing his reads. He wasn't looking at all of his reads completely. I mean, he was just flabbergasted and confused back there.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this about number 12. Going back to the Orange Blossom Classic, their first offensive possession for FAMU, 12 walks on the field. I'm looking at him the whole time. I'm locked in. Wow. Their first possession on the third down play, they went Hunter's way, little comeback route. Travis breaks it up. It's negated by an offsides penalty, but when I saw that play right there, I said, we got us one. And they didn't go back to him at all that game. And then post-game pressure, Dion said, well, he's at about 60%. And this number, a 60% player, locking down who's arguably the best receiver in the SWAC. That told me all I need to know right there. He was out game. He was out week 2, 3, 4, 5. Didn't matter. I already knew he was the best. So, fast forward to now, you see how he takes away that whole field, the whole side of the field. He just takes it away, just like somebody else I know. So they tell me everything I need to know about Travis.
And you know what? If you a safety playing on his side, you got to love it, man. You got to love being a safety on his side.
You know what I actually am excited about, y'all, is seeing Shiloh play more with Travis Hunter. Because people, I know people like to say daddy ball when it comes to Shador, and they like to diminish Shiloh. Shiloh has been great. Herman Smith has been outstanding this year, with all due respect. But Shiloh adds that extra element because Shiloh is you got to respect his ability to hit because he's their headache game CEO, right? But he also got his first interception. and I know I don't want to, we can jump right into that, but a lot of that speaks to what you talked about. We talked about Nugget making a play, but Shiloh, his instincts to the ball, having that, that Hall of Fame DNA, and I just like the fact that you now have multiple we saw Cam hands get better as the season went on his freshman year. And so when you shore up that back end with a Travis and a Nugget, now we're starting to really see that DB core come together like what we envisioned. And it just only, what we say, it's scary hours for the rest of the conference, man, as we go into the final home run stretch of the season. But let's jump into the depths of the defense. I'm going to call out a few stats. I want y'all to kind of speak to this. We limited Southern to 10 first downs this entire game, to just 10. And we gave up to a total of 227 total yards, and we stopped them. They was only 3 for 18 on third down. Now the defense, check this out. The defense has held its opponent under 250 yards for the 8th straight game this season, and has limited 5 opponents to only 1 score or less.
That's
now,
crazy.
I'm gonna throw this last little stat in there, then I'll let y'all rock out. When we went into this game, we were the 3rd best scoring defense in the nation behind Illinois and Georgia. Because of the shutout, we're now tied for first. Now, I don't know what they did. Actually, we are first now. Because like Zoe said earlier, we're now sitting at 8.9 yards, not yards, 8.9 points per game given up. So let's speak on this defense and give your thoughts on how we performed and your thoughts on the overall for the season, for these first 8 games.
I'm going to be like Prime, and I'm going to be like, I still ain't satisfied. It's incredible numbers, but the first thing that jumps out to me is them bogus 17 points that we gave up to Grambling. Okay, that's the first thing that pops in my mind. Them bogus 17 points that we gave up to Grambling.
I know you and Ken, y'all hate those garbage touchdowns.
Yeah, I hate them, man. I hate that garbage mess, man. I hate the garbage 17 points we gave.
I didn't want that touchdown against Bethune-Cookman. I didn't want that one.
That last one against Campbell. Yep.
That last one against Campbell is on there too.
Here's some irony for you guys. The irony is, even with all those late touchdowns and the 17 points from Grambling, you factor that in, and you're still only giving up 8 points per game. Think about that.
Now, I'm going to say this again about that Grambling score. I'm going to say it again. 7 of those points was a fumble recovery for a touchdown. Yes, I know they counted against the defense, but I still say we've only given up 64 points on defense. So you do the math on that. But I'll let them have it and say 71. Go ahead.
Well, let me add this too, because we go back and we rewind back to the beginning of this season when you factor in as great as the defense was last year and how we lost some players and we lost Antoine Odom and we lost James Houston. People didn't think that we could bounce back and have a better defense, and we stated this defense this year could be better than last year's. Well, I'm gonna take it a step further, and Ken, we mentioned this before. This is hands down the greatest defense in Jackson State football history. And the reason why I say that, I know generally people will say, well, you can't compare errors, but here's one feather that's in this defense's hat that no other defense can have. Outside of us having the greatest scoring record, the thing people have to realize is that the change in the game right now, the game is totally offensive friendly.
Right.
Everything is catered. Yeah. Everything is catered to offenses, and it's easier to score. So the fact that it's even easier to score, and yet we have a defense that's only giving up 8 points per game, and we've had a 24-point game, and we've had a 15-point game against Campbell, a 14-point game against Campbell. And even with those scores, we still lead the country in points per game. And this is by far and away the greatest point per game defense that we've ever had. Add to the fact that we lead the nation in sacks for the second year in a row. We're in the top 10 with tackles for losses. Our plus minus is ridiculous when you talk about that. We've had 8 straight games where we haven't had a single quarterback to throw for 200 yards. In 7 of those 8 games, we knocked the starting quarterback out and had to face the backup. I mean, I could go on and on and on. No other JSU defense has had what this defense has. So, and we're not even done with the season. So we can even add more superlatives later on in the year. But yeah, as it stands right now in week 9, this is the greatest defense in Jackson State history.
Hey, you forgot 1 point, though. We still are not complete full strength yet.
No facts.
That's a great point.
Facts.
Still not
That
full
just
strength yet.
speaks to the depth. It speaks to I gotta say this, man. Because I'm gonna tell him myself a little bit. I caught a cramp after the game, right? How many times have you seen our players cramping up
Not a
and
lot.
falling on by the way? You haven't
Not a
seen
lot.
that this season. And what that speaks to, shout out to Coach Mo
Okay.
Sims, man.
Strength and
Strength
conditioning.
and conditioning coach, man. That team has been, hey, we're witnessing a defense that looks like they get a second win and they get stronger as the game goes on.
The game
That
goes
speaks
on.
to, not only that, we've
Yeah.
seen depth, we've seen different players every week show up. So it speaks to the caliber of talent that you see on the roster, as well as the coaches utilizing them, and it's next man up. Whoever has a great week is the one that goes out and play, and it's pretty impressive when you see it come together. So and look, we played Southern, man. You know how good it feels to see Southern have zero, like Richard say, zip. So I say this. I say all them folks come from Baton Rouge. They got up that morning, Mike B. Shackers, though. They gassed their vehicles up, and they got on the highway. They drove all the way up to Jackson just to see their team score zip. And I
In the
love it.
rain.
So shout out to the
In the
defense.
rain.
They get the Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club gang ball, man. The defense. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Shout out Southern. I love it, man. All right, so let's jump into it, man. We can't talk about Southern if we don't talk about that bulletin board material that we saw surfacing and circulating around the web, man. It was a little video, a little something done by some of the Southern players. Southern's been having a very Southern-like year, man. You know, fight against Prairie View. You got players in the locker room saying, explicit and disrespected to and disrespected Coach Prime and so forth and so on, man. Y'all know what I'm talking about, but that was some bulletin board material. That's what made the 35-0 feel even greater, man. But I want to get y'all thoughts on it.
Yeah.
Anybody can start it up.
Well,
Go ahead,
well,
Mike.
I'll say this: they mouth wrote a check. I'll let you finish it.
Y'all know the rest of it, right? Go ahead.
Hey,
Yeah.
or might be you telling the truth because Aubrey Miller himself took his belt off and just gave it to him.
Yep.
And, yep. I tell you what, I gotta shout out Dre on Twitter because he actually made a good point. And when it came out, there's no outrage with it. And Dre made a point. It was like, everybody pretty much in the SWAC, they're more outraged about what Coach Prime was joking with about Rob J than they are about these boys threatening to rob and do something to two. You know what I'm saying? It says a lot. But again, the fact, and this actually, I tell you what else too. This is prime reason why they lost. You're putting your energy about harming a player or doing something. You're in a locker room, and this is what you're putting out here in the universe, as opposed to focusing on being one mind, one heartbeat, and trying to get a dub against Jackson State. So again, we didn't do that. Our energy and our focus was on the task at hand. And one thing Coach Prime prides himself on, we're going to have fun. We're going to light it up, and people are going to see what we do on social media at practice. But when it's time to get serious and buckle down on football, that's what we do. We don't demean our competition. And like Coach Prime say, we don't talk with our mouths or demean the competition. We let our play do the talking, and the scoreboard is going to do the talking for us. And coincidentally, Southern scoreboard couldn't say nothing because Zero don't talk.
Zero quiet as hell.
Mm-hmm.
But
hey, man,
it all
I
goes
thought you
back
was
to
talking
Coach
about the
Prime.
artist.
Go
I
ahead.
thought you were talking about the hip hop artist Zero when you said that. But go ahead, man. Keep going. Nah, for real. When he said that, my mind, when he said Zero don't talk, I was like, you talking about, never mind. I had a blind moment.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Shout out to H-Town. We'll see y'all soon.
Coming to a town near you, by the way. Go ahead.
But it goes back to the paradigm shift you all talked about, and Coach Prime getting these guys to think like professionals. Because some of these guys, some of the individuals we saw in that video, I'm not going to name names. They know who they are. But some of those guys are NFL prospects, legitimate NFL prospects. and you don't want to put that out there for the scouts to see, because
Exactly.
now they're gonna look at the tape against JSU and say you did absolutely nothing. You know, this is against LSU, you did absolutely nothing. So now you don't even have the character component to go in your favor. You already lost the competition component. Now you don't even have the character component. So these guys are not thinking about the bag and the potential and the potential opportunities that are in front of them. So that's what Coach Prime was talking about when he said, I got to get these guys thinking like pros and carrying themselves like professionals. They don't even see the peril in that. It's like it's on TikTok. I'm like, Cat Williams, don't you know I can see you? why would you make a video like that?
Yeah, but you right, Mike B, because you got to ask yourself what made them think putting that out there in that type of context would be beneficial for them. Like I'm confused, and if I'm
Where's the
Dooley,
leadership?
if
Yeah.
I'm Dooley and
Exactly.
I catch wind to that video, they ain't playing that game. They ain't playing.
Do we? So are we? Let me throw this in there real quick. Are we gonna? We know that coaches aren't with their players 24/7, and they
Correct.
can't. But this is too. How do you? Let's just be real about this. You're talking about this is Dooley's first year. Now a lot of these are some players that he did not recruit. Even despite how good they were. So from a character standpoint, you're looking at something that he basically inherited. And a lot of times when we're young, we do stupid stuff that we wish we hadn't done. So I'm not gonna pretend that I wasn't youthful, but we're in an internet age. And we had coaches out there that have always said you got to make sure you be careful before you hit sin. And when you look at something like that, followed up just recently by a big brawl that we felt like was the brawl got less press because it's two stories in this. The brawl got less press than Coach Prime walking around the other side and the infamous "he ain't swag" quote. That was the thing that kind of grew legs.
Yep, that was the same week. Same week.
Same day. So at the same time, you're looking at Coach Prime is like, people always want to talk about everybody else being tough, but he felt some type of way about people not talking about Jackson State when we're talking about the toughness. Like at some point, y'all gonna have to start saying Jackson State is tough. This O-line is tough. This D-line is tough. It speaks a little bit more to what if that was a Jackson State player? Two things we do know that would have transpired had that been a player in the Jackson State uniform. Number one, it would have broke the internet and they would have pushed it to the worst end. And number two, he would no longer be a JSU Titan. That's what that we do.
That's all
because
facts.
that's the character that we know. For us, those of us that have been around this long enough to know and see how Coach Prime operates, that's not coming out of his locker room like that. And if it does, he's gonna put an end to it pretty quickly.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I think what we see happen afterwards is going to speak a lot about the leadership that goes on in that program. So that's just my take on it. It is what it is, but that's my thoughts on that. Stupid.
I agree.
I don't want to throw the kid away, but that was bad. That was very bad, by the way.
I was going to say that I beg to differ because, like you stated earlier, the day that we had an issue with Prime at Alabama State, the whole walk around the field incident, they had a brawl that game. So any coach worth his salt is going to address his team and handle his team, know that we're not going to have that going forward because guess what? In the same game that Prime had the incident with the players walking around the field pregame, what did Prime come out on the field and do before the kickoff? He called the team in a huddle and said, no talking, no disrespect. We're going to sit here and play what? We're going to talk with our pads. We're not going to do any of that. That was a coachable moment. He reined it in. So how can you go from that to if we had the issue again? This is the same team because you're a reflection of the coach. It's a coachable moment, and guess what? You still have this video get out. And also, that's the first point. Second point I want to make is the irony of a particular player doing what he's doing, but yet and still this same player is always hurt. And coincidentally, he was hurt in this game too. The irony, though. The irony is you want to cause harm to somebody, but yet you're always injured and can't complete a game, and yet you got hurt in the same JSU game and didn't finish that game either. The irony.
Well, I'll say
So
this too, though. I like that Coach Prime did kind of prepare the players, and we'll move on from this. But I love that he took, his mantra is smart, tough, fast, and disciplined with character.
with care.
This time he said smart, disciplined. If any of y'all do y'all remember that last piece?
With character.
Now he said, it was more of
He had 3
I
words
forget the
this week.
word. It was 3 words, but it was more of not basically baiting into. I got to go back into it, and I forget the word, but the word was basically saying we're not going to get baited into foolishness because he already saw the video. He knew what was coming, and there's footage out there of players trying to snatch Coach, not Coach Prime, but Shador's chain, so forth, so on. But
Yeah.
hey, Trey Lang was cheap shotting all game, and it is what it is. It's football.
Yeah.
It's a nasty rival. I understood
Well, look,
why
man.
Tyler Brown now. I know we weren't watching it. We was like, what happened? But we understand now why Tyler Brown kind of might have did what he did.
I saw it. Yeah. I wasn't mad at that penalty. When he took the penalty, I wasn't mad at that. That's what you do for your quarterback.
But
I was mad at all.
But I tell you what, though, man, we have a coach, and it's not a thing where, hey, we're behind the scenes and we see it. Everything that we do is on Front Street. So again, your team is a mirror of the coach, right? So you see what Jackson State is and what Jackson State about. And I'm sorry, but our coach is about, doing things the right way and elevating our kids in our program to do things the right way. We're not sitting here worried about which ascot we're going to wear and how we're going to match our loafers with our suits. And I think that's the main issue.
We're gonna move into the next thing. So we go switch it to a more positive note. We gonna segue off the ascot and move into Coach Prime being pro HBCU, pro SWAC, and we had college game day in Jackson, man. And Coach Prime, hey, listen, this it did not disappoint. Got a chance to experience it. I know Zoe, you were there as well. Got a chance to experience it. I know you guys got a chance to watch it on TV. Man, give me your first reaction to just what college in a short version of it. I know you can go on and on about it, but just kind of give your first thoughts on college game day coming to Jackson State and what you got from it. Shaq.
Man, look, I looked at that video like 100 times, man. I've envisioned myself there already. All right. I looked at it like numerous times, man. And the only word that I can give you, man, is goosebumps, man. I mean, it was electric. It was to see all them people there and our people in unison, and having an opportunity to put Jackson on the map, first time in history. College game day, is presenting a game in Jackson at Jackson State. I mean, can't get no bigger than that, man. And the crowd showed up, as I said earlier. Crowd showed up. I mean, you can't ask for anything better than that, man.
Man, it was I have to steal number 2's thunder. It was legendary. It was monumental. It was historic. It was emotional. It was a coup de grace, man. It was not just for Jackson State, but Jackson. And it was, to me, I believe it was a seminal moment to change the tide and the trajectory of HBCU football, or the perception of it, because a lot of people are ignorant when it comes to HBCU ball, let alone FCS football. And to see college game day there, to see the pageantry, to see the amount of people that were there, the love that was being shown, and on top of that, to see the vet in the backdrop. Because when you think of FCS football or HBCU ball, you think lesser than. Well, when you see that stadium and you see up top of the stadium, home of the JSU Tigers, and then when you watch the game and see that it was right at 54,000 people in there, it's not small time football. We draw better than a lot of Power 5 teams and over all of the other Group of 5 conferences. And so there's nothing minor about JSU football. And pretty much it was an advertisement to let you know that we've arrived, we're here, and now we're trending upward in this new pathway to what Coach Prime likes to call, this is a new JSU. So buckle your seatbelt, folks. Hop on and get ready to join the ride, because College Game Day was the start of this new galaxy that we're about to take you to. It's a new golden era of JSU football.
Yeah, I like that.
I've always said the Boombox Classic is one of just the the best kept secrets in America and in college football. Not anymore. After today, I mean, after this weekend, this past weekend, everybody saw what we were about. If I had to put it in one word, I'd just say amazing. Like Shaq said, a lot of people called me and told me they had goosebumps. When we talk about goosebumps, a lot of people say it's surreal. Yeah, people describe it as surreal, and to see it on TV, man, I was proud of the state of Mississippi. I was proud of the city of Jackson. I was proud of Jackson State. I was even proud of Southern, for showing up and representing, because this was their moment too. This was not just our moment. This was Southern's moment as well. And I was glad to, I was glad that they were able to share that spotlight with us. And even though I'm glad I wanted to spank them during the game, obviously, but at that moment, it was all love.
It was all love.
It was all about HBCU football, Black college football. That's what it was all about at that moment. So we were able to push the rivalry to the side for that moment, and just be in unison and just be one. One love, one hill. As they like to say.
That game.
It was a life-changing experience for me. I'm a big. I love college football more than probably any sport now. Even I think college football has supplanted basketball for me. NBA, it just has, because it comes with the passion. Y'all know we love our JSU Tigers, but I was just so proud. I was emotional. I was proud. Even on the way there, I was watching it because I made it around like 8:30, had already started, and to see the crowd and to see the reaction. I just didn't want it to look. I wanted it to look the same way it looked when we watch it on Saturday. You know what I'm saying? So to see that, and then to see us out there representing, and we got out there and we got a chance to be a part of it. To see Stephen A. Smith, I'm right there, watching him. See ESPN, Pat McAfee with all the energy. David Pollock, Desmond Howard, Reese Davis, the whole crew. We missed Lee Corso, but it was everything that you could think of and then some. We deserve it. We earned it. And I'll say this and I'll move on. It solidified to me that Jackson State is the epicenter of college football, right?
Facts.
Jackson, Mississippi. Yeah, it's sitting right at the heart of it, because Pat McAfee explained it when he was he was comical with it, but he said, hey, ESPN said, no, we're going to Jackson. We're going to the SWAC. Who is SWAC? He woke up motivated. I just thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then Coach Prime didn't disappoint. He came in with the energy. Man, it was beautiful, man. They told our story. It was. We can go on and on. Matter of fact, we can do a whole show on College GameDay. And you know what? We just might do that. But I want to say this, though. You mentioned one thing, and I thought it was pretty awesome that the fans showed up despite the weather delays, folks. We had 53,885 total to show up to this game, man. We talk about 54,000 versus Southern. Southern was very well represented, but the Jack, like Coach Bruce said, Jack Nation. The Tiger Nation showed up, man. And listen, hey, I know Shaq, Mike, y'all was watching it. Me and Zoe was in that stadium. Shout out to the DJ, because I know we get on the DJ and we get on Richard. Hey, we be wanting that we want that atmosphere. Hey man, that stadium was rocking. It was electric. It was electric, man. 53,885.
It fell through the television too. When looking at the game, you could feel the vibe and the atmosphere. From outside looking in, and it was great, man. It was just you watch the Iron Bowl, you watch Michigan, Ohio State. It was right there with that, man. You can see that, you see all the people there, representing, but it was us. It was all us. So it was great to see that, man. And then College GameDay, you see Desmond, he was having the time of his life out there.
I was waiting on Desmond to do that Heisman pose.
Man, Desmond looked like he was great amongst family, man. But go ahead, Shaq. Go ahead.
Man, look, you know how long we have talked behind the scenes of making sure America could witness this rivalry between Southern and Jackson State. I have yearned for an opportunity for ESPN or any other major platform to pick up this game because it's a magical game. The pregame activities, the atmosphere is electric, everything is two teams who can't stand one another. The games are historically close and very competitive. I mean, it's what college football is all about, if you want to be honest about it.
Right.
And I'm happy that College Game Day had a chance to really put this on showcase for everybody in the world to see and witness. And now I expect some top name recruits now to really strongly consider Jackson State, mainly because of this game and what Prime is doing right now, not only for just Jackson State, but for the city of Jackson as well.
Yep. I bet you'll see some prizes in December. Southern might see some too, you know.
Yeah.
But I'll ask one question for y'all. Okay, which moment is better? Shiloh high stepping on the sidelines after the interception, or Robert Kent on the sideline popping his collar and shades?
Robert Kent.
Robert Kent, man. Robert Kent by far.
You can't do that. You can't do that, Mike B. No. That was a neutral site, Superdome. I mean, it was jumping. And you got to keep in mind, man, the boom was even in their bag that day. You know what I'm saying? And that was a moment right there, bro. That was Superman.
You gotta remember that was the game where we had the that was the game where we had the record of Rock the Houses played back to back to back to back.
What number was that? It was like
3 in a row.
No, it was longer than that.
It was longer than that. Four times back to back to back to back.
Yeah, it was like that. But this is what makes that moment special, and we'll close this out after this. What made it special is because Shiloh is Deion Sanders, son, man. Deion Sanders prime time. So we already know the lore that comes with that name. But Robert Kent was just Mississippi's own, man. He was the child. He was that dude. He was Superman before that. The pageantry. He didn't come with all the pageantry. You know what I mean? When he got his moment, he took it and he kept it, and he created that what can we say, that alter ego, that reputation after the fact, and how he played. So just getting to know Robert Kent through how he played, and then just kind of seeing pop that collar, I'll never forget it, man. That was just a magical moment. Man. So,
him and Tanaka. Tanaka counselor.
But fellas, hey man, this has been a one for the ages. I gotta end on this 8-0. First time in Jackson State history, man. We're 8-0 in history, man. We made history. So we're not done yet. Job's not finished, but real quick, we'll get your last thoughts and we'll close this thing out, man. But 8-0, man. What a time to be a JSU Tiger, right?
Damn great day to be a Tiger, man.
Look, what a time to be alive is 8-0, and basically every week that we get a dub, we create new history. We're essentially rewriting the record book with every single game that we play. So it's onward and upward. And hey, the goal is to go 0. And if we get into season 13-0, again, it'll be another record for most wins in the season, and we will have done something that no other team and we've been playing ball for over 100 years, and no other team has done it.
Yep. Man, what can you say, man? Magical season so far. Man, all I can say is get ready for a ride, gentlemen. And if you're not ready for the ride, so be it. But this train is moving, and y'all is moving pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and just enjoy the ride. Tiger fans, my advice to you is just enjoy the ride. You hear all the clamoring and the trolling on the internet. Block that noise out. They're just jealous. People just jealous. They hate it because they not us. They hated when we were losing. They hated they wasn't us. But now we winning and we on top. They really gonna hate it, and they gonna work even harder. So don't let them get you down. Talking about our coach is gonna go here or there. You see people on Twitter. You see people with blue checks by their name trying to take our coach away from us, like we deserve less than. Just Man, block all this stuff out, man. Just enjoy the ride.
Absolutely, man.
I tell
Hey,
you
no,
what,
fellas.
I'm gonna tell like I told my boy.
Go ahead.
Anytime you get concerned about Coach Prime leaving, just donate $50 to the school. Put some money in the pot. Just donate.
Yeah, I like that. I like that, Mike B. But look, fellas, hey, 8-0 with the expectation of going not 9-0 this weekend, but we want to go 1-0. The goal is to go to Houston. We got Texas Southern, and we got that great matchup between number 2, Shador Sanders, and number 1, Andrew Body. It's going to be a great game. Great event for the city of Houston. I know Tiger Nation is going to roll in that thing deep, and we're looking to come out with a W. Fellas, this has been an absolute treat. You know, we got Mike B on the show tonight. We got the big Aristotle on the show, and of course, we got Zoe DeLorean, man. Y'all know who I am. I'm Ken Clark, and it's Tiger Talk the 1400 Club. We beat Southern. We shut them out 35-0. Just want to make sure y'all remind y'all of that. But anywho, man, we're going to go ahead and close this. We appreciate you guys tuning in to Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club. If you're not already, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube page. Like, share, subscribe. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Music. We're on Anchor. We're on every podcast outlet in the nation, you know, coming to you, giving you that great JSU content. And as always, I love. Go Tigers, baby.
I love. Go Tigers.
I love, baby.
I love. Go Tigers.